Look, the Chicago Bears have an underdog on this team that's already got everybody fired up, including the fans, including the coaching staff. And this is coming on the heels of a ton of talk about Nick Chubb still being linked to Chicago via free agency. But I think there's already a back on this team that is being way undersold, and that is DeAndre Swift. He might be the biggest beneficiary of this new Ben Johnson scheme, and not to mention the retooled offensive line. And there's also quite a few people that agree with me. Later in this video, I'm also going to get into some brand new statements by head coach Ben Johnson and also some words from Swift himself that if you're a Bears fan, you should be so fired up for this lead back being ready to roll for this offense. I think he's going to have a huge year. So people that agree with this, in Chicago Sports Stuff's latest roundtable, we've got David Behrman from Pro Football Network, Ian Hartitz and Nando DeFino from Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life. They're confident the back will improve on his disappointing 2024 and be one of the most underrated backs in the entire NFL in this upcoming season. And you notice I said Fantasy Life. I don't know about you, but I am so ready for fantasy football. I'm already making trades in my Dynasty League. Maybe you guys are excited for fantasy too. And kind of having this fantasy perspective on players. It's not just fake football. It's based on projections of who the top players are going to be on each individual team. And Swift is projected to be one of the biggest bargains in fantasy football and also one of the most underrated, one of the most surprising backs in the whole NFL this season. So art imitates life in this segment, and it's applicable. So let's kind of get to what they had to say. DeFino specifically, he is quoted as saying, I think Swift is one of the most underrated backs in the league. We've seen how well Swift can do in a functional offense, and nobody can argue that the Bears' offense was the opposite of functional last year. And great, Swift didn't have great advanced metrics. He had a down year, but if Caleb Williams' rookie season was marred by a bad offensive line and a bad scheme, how does that not translate into drastically affecting DeAndre Swift as well? Shouldn't he get a benefit of the doubt, not only from us, but from the coaching staff? I think yes. And we also point out that head coach Ben Johnson, he's going to play to Swift's strength. The former Lion and Eagle, he can definitely catch the ball at a really high level, and that just makes him just a sneaky good running back for this upcoming NFL season. And for months now, there's been a whole lot of Nick Chubb to the Bears rumors floating around the interwebs. That doesn't faze DeFino one bit, and it shouldn't faze us either. If the Bears add Chubb to the equation, I think we see him as being more of an early down player. Then Swift probably becomes a change of pace and explosive pass catcher, a role that he performs in admirably throughout his career. So I think, yes, I would absolutely love a healthy Chubb on this Bears team. I say go get him, but if this happens, it's a statement that Roschon Johnson needs to be upgraded as a complement to Swift, not that Swift is deficient as the lead back in this offense. And I think he's going to be an admirable presence within this offense. And it sounds like, he is preparing personally for being the engine in this offense. And Marquee Sports Network, Scott Bear, he reports that DeAndre Swift is, and I quote, putting in the work to be physically ready for a heavy workload in 2025. So we're looking at after the Bears chose not to trade up in the 2025 draft in pursuit of Genty, Swift appears to be the number one back heading into this year, coming off once again a disappointing 2024 campaign. He notched a career low 3.8 yards per carry, posted a really bad 44% rushing success rate. And we're going to look at where that is exactly coming from. And I think if you review the tape, just like Swift actually said he reviewed the tape and he was not happy with his performance last year. And Bears head coach Ben Johnson, he's no stranger to Swift. He worked with him during his time with the Lions, and he's complimenting Swift right now as being a fierce competitor. And this is after he spent the first 3 years of his career in Detroit, the final 2 alongside Johnson, with 2022 being Johnson's first year as the Lions offensive coordinator. So just to kind of set the stage properly. And this is Ben Johnson had a lot to say this week about how he understands what kind of player Swift can be on the field. And this is straight from our head coach. Here's what I know about him. He's a fierce competitor, and that's what I love about him. When the lights are bright, you're going to know exactly what you're going to get. If you tell him that you're going to need 1 yard, and I love this, 4 yards, whatever that is, he's going to find a way to put a shoulder down and move the pile and get that done for you. And we're looking at the last time that Swift played in a Johnson-led offense. What did he do? He had the most efficient season of his career. He totaled 5.5 yards per attempt on the ground, 6.3 yards per touch overall. That's from some explosive passing plays. And last season, he responded to the deficient team, the deficient coaching, career lows in both categories. And I think also Roschon Johnson, he could take valuable goal line touches away from Swift, but he should be the nominal lead back in this new look Bears offense. And I think it's absolutely a good thing. And talking about Swift, to hear him interviewed, he's kind of soft-spoken, right? Kind of really businesslike. He offered 4 words Tuesday afternoon regarding his outlook for the 2025 season, and he emphasized excited about this year. And when he was asked what he's excited about, he answered with everything. It's another opportunity, first and foremost, with everybody new on the coaching staff, the culture, it's changed. You can tell Ben has done a hell of a job so far. Day in and day out, everything he's doing is for the betterment of the organization and, frankly, the whole city. And in order to bring the best out of Williams, Johnson understands that first and foremost, the Bears have to establish a run game, right? And Swift's improved efforts, they're going to be critical on this upcoming season. So we're looking at his first season in Chicago, not exactly a storybook story, right? He totaled 1,345 yards from scrimmage, 3 scoring runs of at least 35 yards, 3.8 yards per carry marked the lowest average of his 5-year career, though. And the Bears finished in the bottom 10 in the league in rushing. That's 25th yards per rush, 27th, in scoring, 28th. And that was coupled with losing 10 consecutive games between October 27th and December 26th. So you got to paint a full picture here, right? It requires some focus on poor offensive line, right? Flaws with the offensive system, to put it really mildly, to be kind. Failures. Coordinator Shane Waldron is fired at week 11. Swift had his own issues, though, because he kind of got into some bad habits that head coach Ben Johnson is going to break. He's already talked about breaking them. Swift, kind of in a deficient offense, he started getting a tendency to break the big play when there was none to be found. He got really impatient. And entering this spring, Johnson talked really openly about that, how he's going to push Swift to combine vision and also to be a disciplined runner. And this is straight from Johnson. The negative plays, those are an area we've talked to him a lot, where it's, hey, let me limit those a little bit in terms of where we were a year ago. Don't necessarily look for the home run every time, and have some more, he calls them dirty plays, where we're getting the 2s, the 3s, and the 4 yards and staying on track on offense. Heavy emphasis on the tracks within the running game. This is a common theme in both of them as you hear them talk. And Johnson and his coaches want Swift to commit to each run's design, to commit to the play call as much as possible and run it the way that it's designed. Swift had this to say: the little stuff is big. Details, tracks, how Ben wants it to be to a T. That's the stuff we're working on. And not just running backs, but the whole offense. All the things I hear him saying in meetings, it's little stuff. It's the little stuff. But those are the big things within this offense. And then he's talking about a little more about what a fine running backs coach Eric Bieniemy is. This is what he's been preaching. Just honing in on the tracks, the ball handling, and being intentional when you go out there to practice. Go out there with the mindset of focusing on details. If you're a little bit wide the day before, focus on being a little tighter. Little things like that. You're always trying to get better at something. Swift continues with, if something's not right, there's a whistle. There's a whistle immediately, and we start over. Nothing is getting blown by the wayside. It's good to have that early on. Man, this was really lacking in the last coaching regime. Everybody buys into what Ben and all the coaches are trying to get us to do. They're very fair, and we're trying to do something very special. So to get there, the Bears have to sustain this heightened focus on the little details. Swift has to be the catalyst of this running game. He has to be the number one guy. And I don't think this is going to be another disappointing year from the offense. And to hear Swift, as far as how he's going to get there, he closes with, I'm self-motivated. I know who I am and what I'm about. What motivates me is the work I put in and how I prepare. And you guys, I think he's looking great in OTAs so far. Kyle Manungai, he looked super crisp today, the way that he's running. Really good burst, really good explosion, especially from a 7th-round pick. He absolutely may pepper in as being an important part of this running game as well. No word yet on how Roschon Johnson looks, but I love what I hear from the coaching staff regarding DeAndre Swift. I love what DeAndre Swift is saying that his response to this hard coaching is, and I think we're in really good shape. I think we have the absolute answer at running back already on the squad, and his name is DeAndre Swift. Mark that. So you guys bear down. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. And hey, if you're not a member of this community, hit the like button, especially hit the subscribe button. It blesses us more than you can know. And bear down. I'll talk to you soon. See you.